Hey everybody, welcome to the Movie Guide. I am Brendan Dando of the Four Finger Discount Network, joined right now by Guy Davis.
Hello there, Dando.
And the Leonard Maltin. How are you, Leonard?
I'm fine here in sunny California. The rest of the country is not always as lucky as we are when winter comes. But here in Southern California, it's splendid.
It's the first episode of the Movie Guide for 2026. We've taken a bit of a break over the Christmas time, but we're excited to be back here after what, Leonard, you'll just tell us off the air, wasn't a very exciting 2025, was it?
No, I had a hard time filling up a 10 best list, to be perfectly honest. And if I was limiting myself to American films, as I had to for one outlet, I really couldn't fill in 10 in good conscience and call them among the best of the year. The best of a, okay lot. There were some really good films. One Battle After Another, and Nouvelle Vague, which is Linklater's wonderful film. And from overseas, It Was Just an Accident by Jafar Panahi, and the great film with Stellan Skarsgård and Renata Runsvi.
Sentimental Value, yes?
Sentimental Value. I have a mental block about that title. But I love the film. Train Dreams, there are other good movies, to be sure, but not enough.
It's true. I mean, we have the Oscar nominations are coming up soon, and when you've got prognosticators sort of talking about what's going to be in the Best Picture lineup, you've got your handful of American films. You've got the ones you mentioned, Leonard, like One Battle After Another. Sinners, I think, is probably going to be in there as well. But definitely seeing more international cinema. Like you said, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value. I want to say the Brazilian film, The Secret Agent, is
yes, that's an excellent film.
Is shaping up as a real front runner, and so is the Korean film No Other Choice. Yeah,
that was a really good film for a while, and then it went on far too long and got very mean.
Oh,
very nasty. It's based on a novel by Donald E. Westlake, the terrific crime well-known, much admired American writer of sardonic, often humorous crime novels. And it was filmed once before, decades ago, by Costa-Gavras. And that film I like. It's a French language film. And its title was Le Couperet, because in French, at least, the colloquial definition of axe, as in getting the axe, means you're fired. So they made a literal translation of that. That's a really good film. This one, as I say, started out really well, and then, to me, drifted.
Yeah. I find it pretty interesting, though, that, the Oscars, which used to be regarded as the celebration of Hollywood film or American film, is really taking much more of a sort of a global view now. And I think that really probably started with Parasite a few years ago. But, of course, it started before then. But
also because they recruited literally thousands of new members to the Academy from overseas.
Yeah.
From around the world. So it's a much less, how do I put this?
It's a less narrow world.
It's a much less homogeneous group.
That's a good way of putting it.
It was for many, many years. Members hovered around 5,000, and it was a kind of cozy, a Hollywood insiders group. And now it is not.
Yeah, diversity.
In fact, a friend of mine who was a great prognosticator, he's one of the best guys at calling the shots of what's going to happen at the Academy Awards. And he did that by calling up a handful of older voters, because older voters tend to have the time to watch all the films, and they take it seriously. And when he would call these talented but senior citizens of Hollywood and New York, he could get away. He could get a feeling of which way the wind was blowing.
Mm-hmm.
But now, 10,000 and counting, and around the world, no way to do that.
Yeah, and I don't know. Some people are saying that the box office took a bit of a hit in 2025. I don't know. I mean, between the third Avatar movie and the second Zootopia movie, it seems like a lot of people were actually going to the cinema and handing over their money at the box office.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally.
So, movies may well be back. Who knows? And
well, I want my afternoon back from James Cameron.
You said this, yeah.
An afternoon that I sacrificed to watch Avatar Fire and Ash in 3D This is a 3D film that is not dimensional, to put it mildly.
Does Avatar just have this niche hardcore fan base that go out to watch these films? Because I have never even revisited the first one since it first came out.
It can't be called a niche when it's so huge.
Yeah.
Niches come in all shapes and sizes, I'm sure, and this is a very, very big niche, yeah, but absolutely.
Yes.
You hear so many
Yes.
people talking about how Avatar has no quote-unquote cultural footprint. Like, you know, people aren't citing lines from Avatar or wearing Avatar T-shirts or something, yet...
Well, not a line like, don't shoot anyone you love. That's a quote from the new one. Don't shoot anyone you love.
Very catchy. James Cameron got to relive a dialogue, that guy. But having said, I mean, but yeah, they all tend to make a billion plus. So, people must be enjoying them. But
can't argue with that.
Yeah, hopefully the box office will enjoy a bit of a resurgence in 2026. We're getting the return of, some fairly... notable IP, some big names are making a comeback, whether it's Avengers Doomsday, Dune Part 3, The Devil Wears Prada 2. There's a lot of hype surrounding that one. But you've also got, when I say original material, it's, I think maybe the most big-ticket item of 2026 is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which is based on probably the oldest existing IP, Homer's epic poem. But I think that's one that people are really sort of anticipating and looking forward to.
Well, and understandably so. He's got such an incredible, formidable list of actors and stars working with him on that. And it's a boldly ambitious project to take on. Homer doesn't have a Writers Guild card, but he's proven to be pretty hardy, surviving all of these years, centuries, indeed. But I'm not a Christopher Nolan fan, so I have to remove myself from that conversation.
Or you could engage yourself in it even further and say why, and explain why you think are you not looking forward to the Odyssey at all, or you're going in with sort of measured expectations, or
measured expectations, measured minimally. Okay. I find him humorless, for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
He did a film called The Prestige, and it's like I wanted to crack a window open for air. He just doesn't have a light touch when it comes to, if not for the casting of Michael Caine in so many of his films. That's the one smart thing he has done from his first American film onward. Michael Caine brings a welcome light touch to Nolan's work. I mean, Nolan's a great craftsman. He's a visionary, technically speaking, working in an IMAX and 70 millimeter, and he's made a serious commitment to motion picture film. And I admire him for all of that, and I respect him, certainly. But I don't enjoy his movies.
I get the feeling he is a guy it's easier to respect and admire than actually enjoy. Having said that, I enjoy a lot of his movies. I get where you're coming from, certainly, when you say he does feel kind of humorless. I would go with dry more than anything else. But let's not focus on what we sort of have measured or guarded expectations for. Let's instead talk about what we're here to celebrate, what we're eagerly anticipating in 2026.
Yes.
We threw it out that each of us should come up with 3 titles that we're looking forward to in the year 2026. Leonard, we'll begin with you. What is the first one that you expressed interest in?
Well, I'm really curious about Maggie Gyllenhaal's take on the Frankenstein saga, or one facet of the Frankenstein saga. She's making The Bride, and it stars the great Jessie Buckley, who may well be this year's Oscar winner for her beautiful performance in Hamnet. Plus the director's brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, Christian Bale, Peter Sarsgaard, her husband, and Penelope Cruz, among others. And I'm a firm believer that nepotism begins at home. So I don't see any problem with having her brother and her husband in the film. She has always been a good actress, and only relatively recently has she taken up the director's reins, and she has a taste for the offbeat, to put it mildly. And so I'm curious, and I hope my curiosity is not misplaced.
Mm.
She realized she had never seen the 1935 Bride of Frankenstein by James Whale with Elsa Lanchester in the title role. But her husband had a tattoo of her, of that image of Elsa Lanchester with the white streak in her hair. And that's what sort of piqued your curiosity. Go figure.
Well, it's yeah. You look at the Bride of Frankenstein, that James Whale original, as you said, and it's an incredibly progressive and kind of weirdly kinky film for its time, certainly, and of any era. So, yeah, I mean,
yes.
It's really interesting that that Gyllenhaal, who you're right, has a real sort of interesting eye and sensibility behind the camera. She directed a film for Netflix called The Lost Daughter that was really very well made, and obviously she has a great facility with actors. That had a really great cast giving good performances. Looking at the trailer for this, yeah, it seems like a very big swing. It seems like
and it's set in 1930s Chicago.
That's right.
Just by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, with Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster, and yeah, Jessie Buckley, who's an actor I remember seeing her in a TV show that Tom Hardy created called Taboo, sort of like this period drama about the early days of the East India Trading Company. It was really, really good. She had like a supporting role, and I'd never seen her in anything before, but I'm like, who is that? And she's only gone on since then.
She's somebody you want to watch.
Absolutely.
And she was in season 4 of the TV series Fargo, playing an old biddy who turns out to be a murderess, a serial murderess. And she's the last person you would suspect because she's ostensibly a nurse. And everybody thinks of her as just this, simple-minded old biddy. No. She's got a lot going on. And I got to meet her briefly this past year, and I asked her if she had any role model for that character. It was very specific, her mannerisms and her fluctuations of her hands and all that. She said, a bird.
Oh.
She saw a bird flitting about.
Yeah.
So that was my answer.
Incredibly versatile, very talented actor. So very imaginative actor.
She's a very good singer, too.
That's right, yeah. So, The Bride's going to be interesting because this is coming out through Warner Brothers. I mean, this is a high-profile title from a major studio. Warner Brothers has copped a bit of flack lately. I mean, but having said that, they seem to be one of the few studios still standing, but also one of the studios that's willing to give left-of-center filmmakers the opportunity to make projects with a real budget and real sort of clout behind it. They did that last year with Bong Joon-ho's movie Mickey 17, which is a movie that had stars, had Robert Pattinson in the lead, didn't quite connect with a lot of people, but at the same time you have to appreciate that a company's willing to actually take a risk on movies still. In an age where it seems like everything is very algorithm driven, everyone's looking for sure things. Yeah, it's easy to forget that this was a business that was basically created by gamblers. And sometimes you need to take a gamble. I think The Bride is going to be that.
I have my fingers tightly crossed.
Well, while I'm waxing Warner Brothers' car here, I'm going to talk about my first movie, which is another release by that company. This is coming at the end of the year, and this is called Digger, starring Tom Cruise in a return to what might actually... Who? Yeah, some guy. Big in the 80s and 90s, apparently, trying to make a comeback. No, this is hopefully the return of Tom Cruise, the actor, as opposed to Tom Cruise, the action figure, because it seems for the last maybe close to a decade, all we've been getting is him in Mission Impossible movies with the odd Top Gun sequel.
Tom Cruise, the stuntman.
Tom Cruise, the action figure. Yeah, but I mean, and don't get me wrong, he's really, really good in those.
Oh, yes, he is.
He's committing to them 100%, and he's finding actual humanity in them. I mean, I think some of the work he did in Top Gun Maverick is some of the best he's done as an actor as well. But this is a...
he's still got it.
He's still got it. Absolutely, yeah. But hopefully this is an ushering in a new era or a new phase of what Cruise can do or what he's capable of or what he's willing to share. I mean, this is from the director of Birdman and The Revenant.
Alejandro Iñárritu.
Wow, you put a little hot sauce on that one, Leonard. Thank you.
Yes, I did.
I was a bit worried about my pronunciation. Now I don't have to be. It's strange. He's a filmmaker that again, cops a bit of flack or catches a bit of flack, even though he's made these movies that are quite popular, quite well regarded. They do well critically and they do well commercially. I mean, I think he might have won back-to-back Oscars, but for some reason he's regarded as a bit of not a hack, but it's like, is this guy a bit too obvious? Does he wear his heart on his sleeve too much? Is he trying too hard and making us see the work? I don't know. I mean, I think he's probably a good, with that in mind, he might be a good choice for Cruise to be working with. This is, not much is known about this. It's being dubbed a comedy of catastrophic proportions. From what I understand, Cruise is playing in a role that maybe this is the reason he chose it, the smartest man in the world or the most successful man in the world, but he's created some technology or some device that might save the planet or might destroy it. And he has to sort of work out what's what. But apparently good supporting cast. Jesse Plemons, John Goodman are in this as well. I don't know. I mean, I don't know much about it, and that's maybe why I'm looking forward to it. We get inundated with so much information about upcoming releases, mainly through shows like this, that it's good to know as little as possible going in.
I like that. Yeah. I like that, actually. And I'm, of course, I've always been a Tom Cruise fan, and I'm ready to see him try something different.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a while since he actually... It's cheap to say. It's been a long time since he acted, but I'm interested to see him stretch himself.
It's true, though. I think today's generation don't really know who Tom Cruise is outside of Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
It's highly likely.
And then that's fair, because all of their movie-going lives, he hasn't been there except in those movies.
Yeah. But if you cast your mind back to, certainly to the 90s, but even to the late 80s, I mean, this was a guy who very early on aligned himself with the best filmmakers around. He was very strategic and very determined.
I'm thinking of him and Jerry Maguire right now.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, but
how good he is in that.
Absolutely. But, working with the likes of, Martin Scorsese, Stanley Kubrick, Paul Thomas Anderson, Cameron Crowe a couple of times. And he was working with the best of the best of the best. And
he's also wonderful at Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia.
Absolutely,
that's one of the best dramatic showcases he's ever had.
Yeah, so hopefully this is a return to that. We'll see what happens with Digger at the end of the year. Leonard, next up for you, you're embracing the child within.
Well, Toy Story 5. Now, I wouldn't normally be interested in anything with a 5 after it, because it's going to be like Scream 7 and Scary Movie 6. Those are real. Those are genuine.
These are happening this year.
Movies coming up. But where Toy Story and Pixar are concerned, I make an exception. I wish they were doing something different, something new. But I have a feeling if Andrew Stanton, their longtime director, and Tom Hanks and Tim Allen and company, if they're committing to this, as I believe they truly are, then I want to see what they come up with. And I'm very hopeful and cautiously optimistic, let's say.
Okay. It's interesting. I think as humans, and certainly as people who dig stories and movies, I think we have an appreciation for trilogies. I think we like, they call 3 the magic number. And I think, often we like, they tend to be rounded out pretty well. And I think Toy Story 1 through 3, that's a perfect loop. That works really well.
It had the perfect ending for the story.
It really did, yeah. And look, I've got nothing against Toy Story 4. It's not one that I've revisited or anything like that. But I mean, I remember thinking, look, this isn't too bad. And I must admit, when I heard, they're going back to the Toy Story well again, the addition of Andrew Stanton, who I think is a very, very, very good filmmaker, that gives me a cause for hope. And the fact that this storyline is embracing the fact that toys might be kind of passé and kids are now into screen time, because apparently the one of the main characters in this is a character called Lilypad, which is essentially an iPad, voiced by Greta Lee, I think, from the movie Past Lives, the TV show. You call it the Morning Show in the US. We call it Morning Wars here for some reason. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting idea. Yeah, the fact that the old school toys are bumping up against 21st century technology.
Well, that's a good premise, and that's a timely premise. Yeah. And let's see them work that out.
I think it's a kind of premise too that I think parents are going to want to take their kids to show, to go see screen time isn't too much screen time isn't great. And I do think they're going to have to find that balance, though. They can't just say screen time bad, because screen time too much is bad, but there is room for it in a child's life.
Sure,
I think. Yeah.
sure.
Toy Story 5, moderation.
By the way, it's called The Morning Show in America and Morning Wars here because we have The Morning Show, which is our news program.
We actually have a show called The Morning Show. Speaking of sequels, my next choice is also a sequel, an unexpected thing, and an odd combination of talents. This is The Adventures of Cliff Booth. This is a follow-up to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's last movie. Brad Pitt is back, playing the titular Cliff Booth. Tarantino is writing the movie, but he's not directing. This time behind the camera, it's David Fincher of Seven, Zodiac, Gone Girl fame. Interesting combination. Are these two great tastes that taste great together, or are we going to get a tuna fish and a peanut butter sandwich?
Who's the tuna fish in that equation?
That's a really good... I'm going to go with Tarantino in that. But, this is such a wild sort of array of talents here, given that...
Well, Tarantino did write a backstory for his characters in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So he's left some hints and clues as to where this might come from.
That's true.
And what Cliff Booth might be up to in the days preceding Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Well, that's true. He did that in the novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and gave Cliff a whole lot of backstory. It was pretty good stuff. I mean, if Tarantino he says he wants to write plays and write books. I mean, he's constantly talking about, eventually I'll make my 10th and final movie, but I don't think he wants to. He's too creative to give up being creative, so he'll keep doing things like that. But in the meantime. Yeah, this is an actual sequel. This takes place maybe.
You mean prequel?
Is it a prequel?
No. This is an actual sequel. This place, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, took place in '69. This is in 1977. Apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was underinformed.
Well, it's
not misinformed, but underinformed.
As your famous cushion says, you were misinformed. But no, apparently this takes place in the Hollywood of 1977. Cliff has been employed as like a studio fixer, where the studios have problems with one of its stars, or it has wayward talent acting up. Cliff steps in to sort of do a bit of a Michael Clayton on things. Not the star-studded cast of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Who you have in this? I think you've got Elizabeth Debicki, the great Australian actor from The Great Gatsby, from The Night Manager, Scott Caan, and I heard a rumour that Scott Caan might be playing his father, James Caan, even though they don't really look anything alike. A guy I really like, and I'm going to butcher this the pronunciation of this guy's name, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. He's shown up in a bunch of things, and he's an actor I really, really enjoy, so I'm looking forward to seeing him in this as well. But the main thing I'm interested in is whether Tarantino's style, which is very sort of freewheeling, it's tight and disciplined, but it's also feels kind of loosey-goosey. And Fincher, who is just hospital corners, will these two co-align? Will they work well together? I mean, apparently they're friends or friendly in real life, but they seem so different stylistically. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. It's a Netflix production. Whether it actually goes to cinemas, hopefully it does. I mean, they're leaving money on the table if they don't.
11-day window, apparently. Is that the go now?
Oh, yeah. We're hearing them. Oh, Dando has done right by me and put up the cast of The Adventures of Cliff Booth so I can have a look at it. There are some names I do not recognize, but there are some that I certainly do. Carla Gugino, love that gal. And my man, Holt McElhenney from Mindhunter. And he's a Fincher regular, by the way. He's shown up in Alien 3, he was in Fight Club, and he was in Mindhunter. Yeah,
how much input into this script did Fincher have?
That's a good point, because he's a notorious sort of control freak, so I'm guessing that he's going to want to have put his stamp on it as well. And plus Timothy Olyphant is in it. Yay! So, yeah, The Adventures of Cliff Booth, I'm looking forward to it. I believe it's a mid-year release sometime around July.
My third and final choice for today is an inevitable choice, because it's this new movie from Steven Spielberg.
He's back, baby.
Whatever he's doing, I'm watching. And in this case, he has hatched a science fiction story or premise, let's say. And David Koepp, Koepp, David Kep, who's worked with him many times before, is the one who wrote the screenplay, and it's called Disclosure Day. It's a UFO story starring Emily Blunt, the ubiquitous Josh O'Connor. He's everywhere right now.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Firth and Coleman Domingo, among others. So I'm ready.
Absolutely. And this is one, where Spielberg has been very canny and not revealing a whole lot about it as well. I think we've had one trailer that sort of indicated this is in the kind of in the Close Encounters vein, which is interesting because, they're making a quite a deal of the fact that this is a Spielberg idea. He came up with the story for this. David Kep wrote the screenplay. Spielberg's, of course, a very, very creative guy, a creative genius, but I mean, you generally don't see his name on scripts or screenplays or even stories by. And I think the last time that really happened was probably with Close Encounters. So this isn't a topic and a subject that he clearly feels close to and clearly feels like he can explore and explore ideas within. Look, anytime Big Steve's behind the camera, of course I'm there. He's still, even in his elder statesman phase, just showing the kids how to do it. You look back at the most recent things he's done, like West Side Story or The Fabelmans. Like, the man's just an absolute genius with the camera and a remarkable facility for storytelling. And you add the sort of the sense of wonder that I imagine he's trying to engender with this. Yeah, I think this is going to be quite the event. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Disclosure Day, I've got to say.
I think Spielberg fans have been looking forward to sci-fi from Spielberg for a long time now.
Yes, not since Ready Player One.
Yeah. What are our opinions on Ready Player One?
I remember not being overly blown away by it.
I was totally blown away by some of it.
Technically a knockout, emotionally kind of a swing and a miss. I'm going to say.
Do you think Hollywood is listening here? Because there seems to be a trend here of they're not revealing too much. I feel for a long time now, trailers essentially tell you the movie. It's almost like That's why
I don't watch them.
Yeah.
I don't watch trailers. My students don't believe me. I say, no, if I'm in a theater and a trailer comes on, I cover my ears, lower my head, and sometimes hum.
My wife thinks I'm insane. I literally, when we went and saw Anaconda, some trailers came out, I put my fingers in my ears. She goes, "What are you doing? You're embarrassing me."
I really don't want to know. I don't want to know the best lines, the funniest lines. I don't want to know who survives the explosion in the middle of the movie. I don't want to know anything. I like going in clean slate, tabula rasa. I mean, and the less I know, the better. And that way, I don't have expectations.
It is very depressing that trailers have gone that way because, I mean, I'm a fan of trailers, but I'm a fan of ones that convey tone more than actual story. I mean, the best ones are, classics like The Shining or Alien that give you a sense of like, I get the feeling this is really going to put me through the ringer, but I've got no idea what this story is about, but you're really telling me, how I'm going to feel or how you want to make me feel when I'm watching this. And trailers don't really seem to do it as much these days, which is a shame.
No, and they rarely use humor anymore. Back in the olden days, when they were working hard to get your attention and to lure you into the theater with hard-earned cash at the box office, they often do stunt trailers and humorous trailers. Now everybody's too afraid. They don't want to take a chance of missing out on dragging you into their world. If you want to go all the way back, and you're a fan of Citizen Kane, which is often referred to as the greatest film or the greatest American film of all time, go to YouTube or wherever you choose to go and watch Orson Welles' trailer for Citizen Kane.
Okay.
It tells you virtually nothing about the movie. It features the entire cast, all of whom were new to Hollywood, and it is narrated by the man whose voice was familiar to all Americans at that moment from the radio. It's a wonderful piece of filmmaking.
Okay, then.
I actually went back and revisited the Miracle on 34th Street trailer that you were telling me about.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. They won't tell you what it is.
You have no idea. It's just buzzwords and just the cast walking around the set. It's great. Yeah.
One more thing before we move on about Disclosure Day. As you said, Leonard, nepotism begins at home. Nepo babies come in for a bad rap sometimes, but this movie also features two of my favourites, Eve Hewson, the daughter of U2 frontman Bono, And Wyatt Russell, the son of Kurt Russell and I believe Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, like both those guys. So, Stephen, casting well. Yeah, Disclosure Day, coming out in June. Yeah, get in line now. What am I looking forward to? I admire someone who takes big swings, even if I don't like the finished product, but I admire ambition, because I have none myself. But Emerald Fennell is someone who is a bit of a divisive figure. She is the maker of Promising Young Woman and Saltburn, and she has loosely adapted the classic Emily Bronte novel Wuthering Heights, coming out in the next couple of months, starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, both representing Australia very well. This is, people are like, what's all this about? This does not look like the Gothic classic of old. It seems very modern. They have, pop star du jour Charlie XCX doing the original songs and the original soundtrack for it. What I was thinking of, Leonard, and look, this name doesn't really mean a lot to sort of modern filmgoers, but what I was reminded of was an English filmmaker named Ken Russell. It was very big in the 70s and 80s. And he would do like these biopics of ballet stars or classical musicians and things like that, but put a real sort of kinky modern 70s twist on them.
Mm-hmm.
Very full throttle filmmaker, Ken Russell. And
that's a good description. Full throttle, yes.
Yeah, and what Emerald Fennell's doing with Wuthering Heights, based on the trailers that we've seen, which, going on by what we said before, they seem to be indicating tone more than story. This seems very lush, very sensual, kind of erotic, which is in short supply in cinemas these days. So look, I'll take it. This could go any number of ways. It could be an absolute masterpiece. It could be a total fiasco. I like that. I like that we're rolling the dice a little bit. They can't all be winners, but sometimes when they do win, they win big. So I'm kind of looking forward to this. I mean, also in an interesting casting swerve, the young Heathcliff. I mean, the elder Heathcliff is being played by Jacob Elordi, who's on a real roll at the moment. He's sort of being touted as an Oscar nominee for his role as Frankenstein's monster in Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. He was very good in that, by the way. But the young Heathcliff was being played by Owen Cooper, the star of Netflix's smash hit Adolescence. So, I mean, Emerald Fennell got an eye for talent. We'll see how she goes with Wuthering Heights. As a friend of mine said, though, look, if it's terrible, just go listen to the classic Kate Bush song again, and you'll be happy. But they're my... they're the ones I'm looking forward to. There are many, many more coming out this year that I have an interest in, whether they're sort of more high-profile stuff like... J.J. Abrams has a movie coming out. I know J.J.'s been a bit of a whipping boy as of late, but he has an original movie coming out called The Great Beyond, starring Glenn Powell. Again, not a lot known about this, but apparently a bit of a sci-fi fantasy. I don't know. I like JJ's style. Hopefully he can make a bit of a comeback. And there is one that I'm looking forward to, a bit of a wild card entry. Not a lot. It's a bit of a low profile title, but given the talent involved, I was surprised that not more people are talking about it. There's a crime thriller called Enemies. And the co-stars are Austin Butler and Jeremy Allen White. So you got Elvis and Springsteen going up against one another in a crime drama that seems kind of reminiscent of Heat. One's a cop, one's a criminal, but it's made by a guy named Henry Durham, who he's the filmmaker behind a low budget thriller that I really liked called the Standoff at Sparrow Creek. This came out maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I thought, this guy's got real talent. I'm looking forward to what he does next. I hope he gets another turn at bat, and it seems like he does, and he does with a couple of really hot stars in the leads.
I'm an Avengers fan. I don't love everything that they've done with that group of individuals or individual characters, but I really, really like the first Avengers movie that Joss Whedon did. And if this comes back to that level of fun and engagement and originality, then I'm for it 100%.
I really hope it does. I mean, it feels weird to be sort of like pulling for Marvel. Like, oh God, I hope this multi-billion-dollar company can make a comeback. Seems like they're hurting. I have two concerns. I like what the Russo brothers did with the Avengers movies. I don't know if I'd like anything they've done otherwise. But they seemed more like really capable traffic cops than imaginative film. I think Whedon is a guy who really understood it and really reveled in that kind of thing, and you felt his joy and his excitement being able to bring that to the screen. Whereas the Russos are like, well, we're making our days and we're getting it in focus and everyone's getting, to make a quip now and then. I feel like I'm dissing them too much, which I shouldn't do. The other thing is, though, with Avengers Doomsday, which it just feels like a really blatant nostalgia play in that they're bringing back all these familiar faces that I don't think we've had that much of a chance to miss. It feels like, Chris Hemsworth as Thor and even Chris Evans as Captain America, they still feel very present in our lives. It feels like I haven't had a chance to really, it'd be great to see them on screen again. It feels like I haven't had an opportunity to sort of miss them too much.
Well, it depends on the tone of the movie.
That's true.
Also.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's going to be a nostalgic type of wallow or if it's going to be something fresh.
Yeah. Based on the trailers.
Only time will tell.
Indeed.
I think what I was most disappointed about seeing RDJ return as Dr. Doom was that I thought for the first time in a long time, superhero movies are finally finished. They're not doing as well now. Maybe we can come up with something different now, a new trend in Hollywood. And then I saw them bring him back and I went, they're going back to the well. All the fans are going to come back. Oh my God, it's another 20 years of this. I mean, we've had 20 or 10, 10 years of it?
Something like
10 years of these films. I was so exhausted from superhero movies. I didn't need more in my life, especially ones with the same characters again.
That's the thing. I mean, I won't say I was a huge comic book fan growing up, but I mean, something I did enjoy when I was reading these titles was you would bring new talent in. You would bring in new writers. You would bring in new artists. A title that you had really enjoyed for a while would suddenly take a shift in direction and a shift in tone and a shift in style. It's like, I don't mind if you're bringing Thor back, provided they're played by another actor, or provided, we're exploring this aspect of their character. Or, having said that, they did try that with Captain America, bringing Anthony Mackie on as a new version of the character, and no one seemed to like that at all. So, I don't know. Maybe we should just play the hits. Either way, look, I don't wish it ill. I'm certainly going to look. I look forward to seeing it when it happens, and
it looks like at least we'll have interesting options.
That's true. Well, they're throwing everything out the wall, so
yes, and a variety this coming year.
So, is this what Kang replaced Kang?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think the initial direction or the original direction for these new Avengers movies was that this character Kang, played by Jonathan Majors, was going to be the big villain, the big bad. Jonathan Majors, of course, had issues in his private life that bled over into his professional life. Some quick rewriting was done, and someone signed a huge check for Robert Downey Jr. to come back and portray Dr. Doom, one of the most iconic characters in Marvel Marvel lore. So, look, we'll see how it plays out. I mean, I can't help but feeling it's got kind of a last-minute slap-together feel to it, but at the same time, if you're slapping something together with, $200 to $300 million, it's going to be a pretty good paint job.
Now, Leonard, a couple of news stories I wanted to touch on before we wrap up today. Your thoughts on Kathleen Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm?
Well, she has nothing left to prove. She's been behind some of the many of the most successful films of the past 25 years, maybe more 25 years, actually. And with and without her husband, Frank Marshall, they've had their finger on the pulse of what the public enjoys, and she's very much liked and respected. So I wish her well. I think well of her.
Yeah, I find it very disappointing that so many people took it to task, or so many supposed fans of Star Wars took it to task for things. I mean, there was a real lack of respect and recognition of her achievements. I mean, you look back over some of the modern classics of popular cinema, and her name is on them. You hear stories about the people that she's worked with. I mean, Spielberg himself basically says, she's the one who sort of taught me how to... I mean, he always said, I was good with my actors, I was never good with my crew. And she basically sat him down and said, you can't behave like this. And this is, she wasn't his boss at this stage. I think she was working as like his executive assistant, and basically said, That's not how you treat your crew. You can't get the best out of them if you're being a taskmaster like this. And it changed his whole way of thinking. This is around the time of E.T., I think. So, I mean, yeah, this is a woman who's clearly very smart, very savvy, and very tasteful. Yeah, I mean, I can't deny that there have been recent iterations of Star Wars that I think don't work or simply just aren't for me. But to say that she's been asleep at the wheel, I think is a bit of a misjudgment.
Yeah, I think so too.
Did you see the recent interview that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon had on Joe Rogan? It seems to be a lot of people are coming out at the moment, the guys that run Stranger Things, all saying that Netflix has given the message to dumb down dialogue in your films because people are on their phones whilst they watch these things. Now you should be writing your scripts with the assumption that people aren't paying attention. Leonard, what is your thoughts to that mentality?
If that's true, if that's accurate, it's very dispiriting.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that when I was very young, I mean really young, and I was a published author, at the age of 18, and I went for a kind of an audition at Good Morning America, which remains today one of our principal network morning TV shows. And I had brought some clips to show this young talent booker, who was paying no attention to it. She was, her mind was on other things, other distractions. And I finally said something about, you have to really watch this to get the impact of it. And she said, oh, a lot of people who watch our show are doing vacuuming at the same time. So this is not a new thought. People are not always paying strict attention.
Is it a new thought with movies, though? News and movies are different.
Well, I mean, movies were generally, for the longest time, or for the biggest part of their duration, were in cinemas. And when you go into the cinema, you're signing an implicit contract. It's like, okay, I'm here to give this thing my attention. There are no other distractions around me. Someone may be talking behind me, but you tell them to be quiet because, you're at the movies and, you don't talk during the movie. And then when you had movies on TV, they were essentially broken up with commercial breaks and things like that. That's when you could take your break to, go to the toilet or go fix yourself a sandwich or something like that. Nowadays, and particularly with Netflix, I mean, and Damon and Affleck are not the first people to talk about the whole second screen phenomenon. Like, you're probably going to be on your phone while you're watching this, so you're going to have someone reiterate the plot every half hour or so. We had that on TV. It was always like previously on the blacklist, or, as Bob, this is happening, or he's going up the stairs. Like, we can see that he's going up the stairs. What's going on? At the same time, Netflix and other streaming services that fund and show movies are trying to navigate this middle ground of like, well, we want to make actual movies like they did back in the day, but at the same time, people are watching them on their TV, where, as Damon pointed out during this interview with Rogan, the kids are running around, or the dog is, scratching the couch, or, oh, my DoorDash has arrived, or something like that. So, and you can easily pause the movie and then kick off again. You aren't making that 2-hour deal where you sit down and you pay 100% attention to the movie.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to adjust your movies accordingly.
Yeah. I have no reason to disbelieve what they said in that interview. But I think a good movie is still a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
If they're striving to do the best they can do in telling a story, people will pay attention, pay enough attention. And the people who don't are the kind of people that you want to run out of your local movie theater because they're texting while the movie's on. So there's always going to be there's always room for stupidity.
Increasingly so.
And whether it's at home or in a theater. And I don't want them either place. I don't want that interfering with my enjoyment of a movie, or even a made-for-television movie.
Sure. I mean, I'm glad that Damon and Affleck, who are both clearly very smart guys and who have been in the industry for a very, very long time,
yes,
are bringing this to people's attention and sort of showing a little bit of what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were trying to have it both ways. I mean, the movie they're promoting, this Netflix movie, The Rip, this crime drama, I don't think it was all that great in all honesty. But it also felt like the kind of movie that you'd get, 10 to the dollar for back in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
But it did seem like they were trying to say, oh, well, if it's a bit slapdash plot-wise or, a bit so-so, that's the way the sausage is made, folks. So, but as Dando pointed out, we were talking about it, he said, look, if you don't want to make a Netflix movie, then don't take Netflix money. But unfortunately, if you want to make something like Affleck's movie The Town, which is kind of regarded as a real high point of crime drama in the last sort of 10, 15 years.
It's a great movie.
It is. It's really, really good, but it's not the kind of movie that studios like Warner Brothers or Universal are as eager to make as they once were, perhaps. It seems like the natural home for that kind of mid-budget Saturday night programmer is Netflix or Amazon Prime or Apple. But unfortunately, they're going by sort of algorithm rules. And it's like, well, keep reiterating the plot every half hour. Keep reminding us who that character is. State the obvious just in case someone was looking away because the cat was scratching up the couch. Who knows?
I think the fear is too, because have they purchased WBD yet, Netflix, or are they going to?
No.
That's still in limbo.
Still in limbo, but if they do, they apparently have made it clear, like I was mentioning earlier, the 11-day cinematic window for a film. Can they say the difference between a Netflix film and a film? Because if they're just going to have a short cinema window, do they say every film is a Netflix film?
They're indicating that they're going to run two businesses autonomously.
Okay.
We'll see how that works out.
For how long?
Yeah, that's true. The thing of it is, it's very easy to paint Netflix as the villain here. That they're dumbing us down all that.
They've done heroic things. They have saved so many filmmakers. They have allowed so many people, stars and directors and writers, to make their dream projects, their pet personal projects. I'm not casting stones at Netflix.
Even this year, you mentioned Train Dreams earlier, Leonard, a very, very slow, very elegiac movie. Not made for Netflix, but Netflix is the place that picked it up and gave it a showcase. That show Adolescence, one of the biggest hits of the year. Stylistically kind of brave and bold. It's not doing previously on Adolescence all the time. It's asking you to think for yourself. It's actually demanding you that you pay attention. So, these guys are not Philistines.
No, far from it.
But at the same time, they're also in the business to make a buck. And if they can do that by, doing stuff that goes down easy, they'll do it.
Yeah. Well, they seem to have that down.
Yeah.
They have that part of it down.
Indeed.
All right, well, that is our 2026 preview. Your three films, Leonard, were The Bride, Toy Story 5, and...
Disclosure Day.
Disclosure Day, yes. And Guy, your three films were?
Digger, The Adventures of Cliff Booth, and Wuthering Heights.
Indeed. Now, we'd love to hear from you guys watching on YouTube as well. Comment below the video. Tell us what films you are most excited for in 2026. And if you're listening out there in podcast world, comment below on the podcast and let us know what films are you most excited for. We can get in touch with the guys. It is the movieguidepodcast@gmail.com. We are going to be doing another mailbag episode in the coming weeks. So get all those questions through. It's the movieguidepodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you want to get this show early and ad-free, you can support us on Patreon for as little as just $2 per month. Link for that is in the description of this podcast. But for now, Leonard, thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
And we'll catch you all in the next episode of The Movie Guide with Maltin and Davis.